Good morning, YouTube universe. I was literally just driving to work, and I just felt like it was really important that I got out everything that was running through my mind right now. It's so funny because sometimes I think I do this more for me than I do it for you. So, and I'm happy that you all get to be a part of my stories and my life, and you get to hear what's going on in my life. But some people like to write journals, and I've never been able to write anything. So this is like my video journal. So I'm just gonna get right to the point because I personally hate it when people go on and then they don't really tell the story that is like the headline on their YouTube video. So my son actually goes to Michigan State University. We don't live anywhere near Michigan State. It just happened to happen like this. He applied to a bunch of different schools and he got into Michigan State. He is an engineering major. He's a great kid. He's smart and just really has always been like a good student. I visited there once. It is a gorgeous campus. There's like a whole river that runs through it. It's beautiful. It's serene. It's like really green and peaceful. I know I'm biased, but in comparison to like University of Michigan, which just felt very urban, Michigan State is just like a lush green campus. So anyway, I'll get right to it. On 2 nights ago, I got a text from Colin, and it just said, Mom, don't freak out, but there's an active shooter on campus. I'm in my dorm room. We barricaded the door. The blinds are down, the lights are off, and we're hiding in our dorm room. And he said, I'm okay. I don't think I saw the text for about 15 minutes because it happened around like 8:45. I did not get any information from Michigan State myself, which I thought was odd because I would think like maybe they would send out like an emergency alert or something like that. And obviously immediately as a mom, I freaked out. I was texting him, I was calling him. And then he, responded and he was like, I'm okay. He was with his roommate in his dorm room, barricaded. And he sent me the police scanner or like the police radio. So I think both fortunately and unfortunately, I was able to listen to this police radio for almost the entirety of the event as it was unfolding. It was extremely scary because this was just like the radios with all of the kids all over campus that were calling in everything that they saw and they heard. I felt so bad for them because they were so nervous, and they, like, if someone knocked on their door or if they saw policemen with a gun, they called it in. So literally it was just sheer chaos for about 4 hours. The police were running all over campus to all these different buildings, trying to find out if there was active shooters in other places. At one time, I heard reports that there were 3 different shooters. There were bomb threats being called in at other points. My son said that he was, crying when he heard the bomb threats because the entire time as the reports were being called in, at one point there was, a report called in where there was screaming and yelling and gunshots heard in the gym, in the student union, in other areas. He could map out exactly how far away from him and his dorm room the active shooting was happening. We were doing the exact same thing at home, which again made me extremely nervous because I kept like looking on the map to see exactly where the reports were being made, in terms of how far away it was from his dorm room. So that was all going on. Again, it was just like extremely scary. I didn't know what was going on. I was so far away from him. I'm a plane ride away from him. I kept thinking about the parents that couldn't get in touch with their kids. I don't know his roommate's information. His roommate doesn't have my information. If Colin, had went out for a walk that night, or, God forbid, was in one of those areas, like no one would be able to let me know that he, was safe, wasn't safe. It's just scary. Like, you put your trust 100% into this university's hands, and like, I just, it tore me apart for so many reasons, because like, he was in high school during the pandemic, so he missed out on almost all of his high school years. And then he got to college, and for his first whole year, he also had virtual classes. And then, like, things were finally getting back to normal for him. And then all of a sudden, like, this happens. And, I'm just like, he's in a state of shock. We're in a state of shock. You never believe that, like, anything like this could ever happen to someone you love or someone that's like in your family. So it was just hard. He stayed up pretty much all night long, until, the shooter was found dead, in their apartment. And even then, like, the adrenaline was so, kicked in that it's hard to go to sleep. And then for myself, I actually work as a professor in a university. So to go to work the next day and have to be in that environment, it was just scary. And I also am a nurse who worked through COVID, so I have PTSD from that already. And I just kept thinking, like, why is this happening? Like, why? I don't understand. So that's it. He is doing okay right now. He left school. He is going to his grandparents in Florida, because school is not on until Monday. And then we're just gonna see how it goes when he gets back. I think that this is gonna be a long process for him to deal with this. And it's not gonna be easy. And again, I think about the Greatest Generation, World War II. They went through so much, and I'm hoping that for this generation who went through the pandemic and now has had to deal with something like this, it's just going to make them stronger and more resilient. And but I worry about the mental health of this generation, and all the tragedy and death and they've been exposed to. But honestly, as his mom, I just need to keep telling him that everything's going to be okay. Reminding him that this is actually a beautiful world, and he needs to just try to be positive and really just continue to have a positive outlook, because the world is not, such a scary place. And I want him to just enjoy his adolescence and young adulthood, where, you get that sense of invisibility, not invisibility, but where, nothing can really happen to you. And that's a great feeling, because when you get older, you're always afraid of everything. And, that's not what you're supposed to be like. You're supposed to really just kind of live life at that point as a young adult and just not be afraid of everything. It's a blessing and a curse, but again, for him, I want him to experience life in all of its beautifulness, and not just worry that death and fear is all around him. That's it. I will try to update you if anything else happens. But again, I just felt like it was really, really important to share our story. Thankfully, he wasn't anywhere, in that close vicinity to what happened. But again, it was traumatic for him. And I think it is a traumatic for all the students at Michigan State, and any child that has to deal with this kind of issue and incidents. So, peace and love to all. Please subscribe to my channel. It makes me want to do these videos more when people subscribe. So I have almost 300 followers at this point, and I know that that's, in retrospect, not a lot compared to a lot of other people, but I like making these videos, and I like telling all of you my story. So have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.